Tarryn and Wood, and this is the very first episode of Kindness is Not Weakness. It's just me today. I thought I'd take the first episode just to explain what the project is about, who I am, and what I hope to achieve. So I'm not having a guest today, but from the next episode, I will have guests on every week to discuss the topics with me. So let's start with, who am I? I live in the UK, but you might have picked up I'm not originally from here. I'm an immigrant from South Africa. So I started Kindness is Not Weakness because I have always been a very empathetic person. I have always been very much driven by helping people and animals. I am very disturbed by the suffering in the world, and I've always wanted to make a difference. And it's always surprised me throughout my life to meet opposition to that. I think I didn't used to have very healthy boundaries. I mean, I know I didn't used to have any boundaries when I was younger, and I think my kindness went way over into people-pleasing behavior, and it was very unhealthy for myself. Now that I have learned healthy boundaries and I make sure that I take care of myself first, you can't fill others' cups from an empty cup. I make sure that I'm okay and that I have the capacity to do whatever it is I want to do to help people, be it financially or emotionally or energy or time or whatever I'm giving away. I make sure that I'm going to be okay if I do it. And I've still found that kindness is not always encouraged. In some cases, it's been actively discouraged. I have been called too weak, too sensitive, over emotional. I think people do believe that empathy and kindness are weakness. They believe that caring about other people is weak. And the opposite is true. It is much easier to be a person that is apathetic, and it is much easier to be a person that is cruel than a person who is kind. It is much easier to bully people and be cruel to people than it is to stand up to a bully. It is much easier to just turn away and say, it's not my problem, they're not bullying me, I don't need to worry about it. That is so much easier than standing up and saying, this is not okay. You can't treat people like that. Doing that is hard. I think my different perspective comes from the fact that I have suffered from depression my whole life. I can remember having depressive episodes as early as when I was 12. I was only diagnosed when I was 28, so I suffered with it for a very long time, not knowing what it was. As soon as I was diagnosed and I knew what I was battling against, I learned my triggers. I learned how to cope. I went through CBT therapy. I went through an entire year of talking therapy. I read books. I did my own research. I learned what makes me feel better. I learned how to manage my depression. And I've been extremely stable and in a very good place for a long time now. But that diagnosis at 28 completely changed my life. And if I could have had that earlier, I would like to think that I would have suffered less in my 20s. I would have been further in my goals. And, I was at that point very toxic to myself, particularly in my early 20s. I was suicidal. I was hospitalized at 23 for a suicide attempt for 3 or 4 days. And I wouldn't have gone through that if I had known that I was sick. So I think I have a deep sense of empathy for pain because I understand pain. I've been there. I've been to the darkest places the human mind can go. And I want to tell people that are young people, I mean, people of any age, but I want to tell young me when I was 23-year-old Tarryn, it will get better. This is not your life. This is not it for you. There is so much more. That person that's inside you that is just being drowned by your illness will come out, and you will be that person, and you will achieve the things that you want to achieve, and you won't be sad anymore. And you will go to bed feeling good. You will be grateful. I want young people to know that. So that is one of the reasons I started this project, was so that people who are struggling with the things that we discuss in the episodes will understand that they are not alone. Maybe they will learn some coping techniques. Maybe they will learn little ways to feel better in their day-to-day life, things that they need to do to look after themselves. And maybe they will relate to something that they hear and get some help if they need it. I also started this project because I want to tell the stories of people that I think are misunderstood and judged by society. There are some things that make us uncomfortable. For example, transgender people. I know nothing about this subject. I don't know what a transgender person goes through when discussing the transition with their family, or what they go through in terms of career or relationships. And I think understanding someone's story allows us to be more compassionate and more empathetic. I know that transgender people have a disproportionately high percentage of suicides, and maybe if we understood a little bit better what they were going through, we could accept them, we could be allies, we could help them. I don't know or pretend to know what a person of color goes through in terms of subconscious bias, what struggles they have in their careers, what kind of discrimination they may come up against on a day-to-day basis. If we could understand that, maybe we could be more aware of our own behaviors that may be unhelpful or detrimental or offensive or hurtful. So in summary, what this project is about is reaching people that need to hear that they are not alone, that other people are going through what they are going through, maybe teach them some ways to feel better. It's also to tell people stories so that the rest of us can gain some understanding of what people go through on a day-to-day basis, so that we can all gain a little bit of empathy and compassion for them. And maybe we could all just learn together to be a little bit kinder to ourselves and to others. And maybe this world could be a little bit better and a little bit easier for all of us. We make judgments about each other all the time, and those kind of generalizations and stigmas that people have to carry around make it so much harder to live with things like anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder. I'm really excited to go on this journey of learning about other people and different experiences, different backgrounds, what people go through. I am very much looking forward to learning to be a better person myself, to be a better ally, to look out for the signs of someone being discriminated against, also to look out for the clues of things like mental health disorders, mental illnesses, domestic abuse, the clues to child abuse, all of those kinds of things. I think raising awareness can only make the world better. Having these kinds of open conversations and understanding each other can only make the world a kinder place. I'm very much looking forward to going on this journey. I hope you will join me, and I hope you will really enjoy it. This project is going to have 3 parts. The blog, which I've already started releasing, that is just my writing and my thoughts about some of the topics. and some completely unrelated topics depending on what I'm inspired by day to day. And then there's going to be this YouTube channel which will show the videos of my interviews with my guests. Mostly they will be recorded digitally. Unfortunately, I most of the time will not be in the same room as them, as that very much limits who I can interview. And I want to interview people from hopefully all over the world. I will be releasing it as a podcast as well. You can find me on Instagram at Kindness Is Not Weakness UK. You can also find my Facebook page, Kindness Is Not Weakness. I would very much like to hear what you think of the project. And if you had any ideas for interviews or topics to cover, I would love to hear those as well. If you are interested in these interviews that I'm going to do and the topics that I'm going to be talking about, please subscribe to my channel. To give you an idea of some of the things that I will be talking about in this series, the next episode will be about abusive behavior, how to identify it, how to see the signs early, and how to protect yourself from it. I will be talking to a mental health practitioner for that episode. The following episode, I will be covering holistic health. So we will be talking to a medical practitioner about how your mental health and your physical health influence each other and how looking after one can help you look after the other. I will be talking to someone who has struggled with addiction and overcome it. I will be talking about very heavy topics such as child abuse, consent, medication for mental illness. And I will also be talking about some lighter topics like how we can help our mental illness through mindfulness or meditation, gentle parenting, sick day guilt, self-care, those kinds of things as well. So I will try and keep a good mix of really heavy stuff that might be hard to listen to but is really important to talk about, and some lighter stuff as well that will just help us live better lives on a day-to-day basis. I want us all to learn together how to help other people, how to be kinder to other people, how to be kinder to ourselves, and how to make the world a tiny bit of a better place. Also, how to motivate ourselves and how to achieve what we want to achieve, because to achieve our goals we need to look after our mental health and our physical health. We need to understand ourselves and we need to understand the world around us. So hopefully this will help us in all areas of life, as well as helping contribute to a better world. So thank you for joining me for my first episode. I will see you for episode 2 of Kindness Is Not Weakness, where we will talk about abusive behavior.